So I had aspired to go filming today, but it's looking quite dreary, quite rainy. So I'm not sure, but this could clear up, and then I'll be able to do it. So I have to devise some new plan as to what I'm gonna do. I could probably film here, but you know I like to take you guys to interesting places. I don't like it to be all, just in a room of talking head. I like it to be a talking head in various places. But I feel good, I feel great. It's been a return to health recently with running a whole bunch more, and in fact, I'll throw up on the screen right now the runs that I've been doing, and one's 5 days, like after the other. I guess I could do it out like this, won't get so personal. And just the amount of progress that your body can make in 5 days is incredible. I mean, you might say that these watches, the athletic watches, I keep forgetting its name. It's like the Samsung Active 2 or something like that. The biometrics that you collect from these watches is incredible. It's fascinating, from like pace to cadence to the different, whether it's like vigorous or max heart rate. It's just a treasure trove. It's absolutely incredible what you get from these things. But before we get into all that, I got my morning routine here where we didn't really see that before. So why don't we see it now? I cannot oversell the value of good, especially as you get a little older, getting a little bit of the all brand, the fiber, as it were. So I buy this like constantly. You can tell it's very Japanese, right? You get these little, I don't know how many grams are in this, 235 grams. I feel like in the West, if I were to go back, I would find a bag that was like 3 of these all in one, but I have to buy them like this. Sometimes when you're really lucky, you'll find the mega pack, and it's like double this size, but that's not all too frequent. I'll actually throw up on the screen now the 2 biometrics, or not biometrics, but I'll throw up on the screen the 2 screenshots that I took of these 2 different times in terms of my progress. And you can check out exactly how much I'm talking about I've been able to improve things, because it's wild. It's so wild. Not only are you improving just exactly what it is that you're capable of, but it's like that whole fact that as you improve, it's getting easier. You're doing this with lower heart rates. You're doing this faster. That doesn't seem like it should be possible. Very exciting for me today. 2 days ago, maybe 1 day ago, the state of emergency was lifted in my prefecture. And this means that I believe the gyms are allowed to reopen. And I talk about the high intensity interval training, but still, I want to get that lean muscle mass. And I always go to the gym. It's my temple, it's my meditation. So that's finally open, and I'll be going back there today. Next up on the health train, we've got the telomere vitamin routine. So we get folic acid, superfish oil, vitamin C, B12, B6, Super D. Ladies love Super D. And vitamin E. These, from reading books about telomeres, I've discovered is the vitamin regimen that most supports healthy synthesis of telomeres and telomerase. If you don't know what telomeres are, they're like the things that basically allow for cellular genesis. And then finally, recently, I picked up this. This is lion's mane. So lion's mane is supposed to help support healthy cognitive function by restoring the myelin sheath on your axons in your neurons, which is like the sheath is what allows conductivity and messages to be more efficiently sent back and forth along the neurons. And there's a whole bunch of clinical studies to support, with mice at least so far, and a few others, I think, perhaps human trials, that like the defense against dementia, neuropathy, all this crazy stuff, and it's too early to tell. It's sort of a placebo effect at this point, I would think. I need to be a couple weeks in. But I am very excited to use it, and whether it is a placebo or not, I felt sharper. And it's always something that, well, I'm 35 now, you're past your prime, you're perhaps past your prime. I'm crashing to the grave right now. And so anything that I can do to help support healthy cognitive functioning is something that I want, because it was specifically tested as well, unsurprisingly, when you have good cognitive function, that these mice were seen as more creative. There was like this one particularly interesting study about like toy interaction and how much they wanted to interact when toys were introduced to them. And so I'm trying this out, and I'm really, really excited. It was quite affordable, sourced from a good Japanese company, so we'll see how that goes. Updates, I may become the son of Krypton. We'll see what happens. Now, I would love to take you to the gym today, and perhaps in the future I will, but so long as it's just me who's there filming, it's too ostentatious, holding out your arm and talking to your camera. I think it would like straight up go against the rules at the gym, and I'm kind of glad that it does, because if you had a bunch of people in there doing that, it would be the most obnoxious thing in the world. Now, if you've got a buddy and somebody who can like hold the camera detached from like an arm, you don't have to have it held out on something, I think you can actually be a little bit more discreet. And it just looks a little more presentable. It looks less vlogish when you have that friend there. Like, I really like, well, I'm friends with Dan from A Side of Miso. He's like, he does dance in Japan. The guy is swole as fuck. He's huge. And we've done one like that before. So I'd like to, you know, when things open up a little bit more, I could probably get that going. Getting ready to go. It's been way too long since I've been to the gym. This is really, really exciting. I don't think I need this. I have other things to do today, and I still think going to the onsen perhaps is more, even if there's an emergency lifted, I don't think I would do. But I would still love to go to the onsen. One of the things I'm a big fan of, and the Lifespan book that I read recently now supports this for like longevity, is thermal shifts are really, really healthy for stimulating these things called sirtuins. And sirtuins are these things that send our cells into basically like fight or flight mode, where if it's active, then they hunker down and you don't have so much cellular genesis. But by slowing down your system, that means that it's like you're taking your car out less, but you're still taking your car out. So it's like faking your system into not like having too much rampant growth, because all those metabolic processes, it has a cost for us to grow all these different cells. It's actually given me a whole new perspective on just how much muscle mass you want to build, because it's incredibly stressful for your body to build that muscle mass. So I'm going for where I used to be like aesthetic before. That's like what I wanted. Now I'm like hyper aesthetic. I do not want to be hugely swole. I want to be cut, have good muscle on my frame, but nothing crazy. I cannot stress enough how sweet this is. It might have been a month. There's not a lot of times that I've gone more than 2 weeks without going to the gym, and I absolutely have gone that period of time now. Like, it's been at least a month that I've not gone to the gym. So this is, as I say, it's a momentous return now to be able to go back. So I'm really excited. And hopefully, I mean, if it is open, there'll still not be really that many people there. Like I say, state of emergency is lifted. This is reasonable. We gotta wipe this up here. There's nothing quite like cleaning your lens and then putting your finger on it as you clean it. Idiot. Oh, look at it though, it's still so rainy. And this is my day. I want to go out and do some photography. I wanted to check out some new cool place. Get editing on my new color accurate screen, which is an absolute joy. But I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen under these conditions. Okay. If it's not enough trying to maneuver everywhere, be responsible and not hit people with a camera doing all of this stuff. Having it rain. Sony cameras are not known for being incredibly weather resilient, let's say. All right, cool. So one thing I love, I got my little Bluetooth speaker, set this up in the car. Got my schwanky new phone after 4 years. I finally upgraded. I get some sweet tunes heading on down to the gym. I'm very excited. I may have mentioned that already. And as I mentioned before, what makes this also very exciting is the fact that where I'd previously lived, it took me about 40 minutes to get to the gym, and now, as of having moved to this new town, it takes me 10 minutes. Oh, blessed be. I've really enjoyed this new city that I lived in terms of like amenities and overall convenience. It's awesome, and I even still like around this area, as I've been doing these runs, it's beautiful, it's green. So I get all the kind of like countryside affordability, but I've gotten all of the city schwanky accessible awesomeness that when you live somewhere downtownish. It's funny though, people's perceptions, because they'll hear about where I live, like if I talk to people at my work and they're like, whoa, you're really in the countryside. Like, you have no idea what the countryside is like, oh dear sweet summer child. Well, the state of emergency is lifted, but it doesn't look like they're open. And you know what? I mean, again, I don't feel, I'm not a bitter bear about this. I understand that they're taking precautions to be careful, and just because the emergency is lifted doesn't mean the things that I want to do can immediately be done. So I guess we reassess. I was not anticipating that the weather would suck, but there was, when I was driving this way, a very cool, beautiful shrine. And as it is raining now, I think that that would make for some really beautiful photography. There's a lot of potential in rain, the reflections that it makes. There's this master gardener in Kyoto that is a good friend of my buddy Drew, who will frequently be in videos, more so in the coming years. And he talks about how there's these rock gardens, and he says that they need to get wet. They gotta get wet. And it's when they're wet that they're alive. And at first I thought he was just being a dirty old man, and I loved that. But it's true, once rock is wet, like the way that it looks so much more polished and the light is cast on it is very cool. So let's go back there now, and let's check out this little mini shrine and see what kind of photography I can come up with there. A new fresh crop to try out on the new beautiful color accurate panel back at the house. I just did the, I mean, if people caught the podcast the other night, that podcast, it was overtime, like it was an hour and 11 minutes. To render that out would have taken my old machine, and my old machine is not a shitty machine, but rendering out a 1080p file that was about an hour long would take about 2.5 hours. Granted, my machine's about 5 years old now, so generally they just slow down. My new machine, last night, rendered out an hour and 11 minutes at 1080p in 25 minutes. I love being a gearhead and the march of technology as it relates to creative stuff. It's amazing. Just like this camera. Amazing. I can't believe just regular schmo can afford these kind of things now. It's incredible. Anyways, shrine time. All right, we've arrived. It's just over here. It's raining. I'm gonna get wet. Rain's chilled out a little bit though. And it looks beautiful. It's as I anticipated. I might turn this into a little talk about, I put on my community tab that I recently got my teacher's license, and people wanted to know, how the hell did you do that? And it should not be oversold or undersold. It's actually, it's an interesting tale. Oh man, look at this house. This is beautiful. Konnichiwa. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, I gotta show you this. Look at these beautiful trees. So well maintained. I love it. Absolutely love it. And then the entrance is over here, and you wonder, obviously there's some great history and reason why this was established here, whether for community reasons or whatever else, but there are trees here. One tree at the entrance, which I hope the ultra wide can do it justice, but it is epic. Like, how old is this thing? This is sacred by age alone. Absolutely. Check this out. Isn't that incredible? Like, that thing's got to be hundreds of years old. Easily. And all the trees, actually, I mean, they seem to be of a similar kind going down this way. Really, really nice. Looks like the lens is getting wet. It's all a part of the show. It's all a part of the character. Just look at this thing. The base of it. Look at how girthy it is. Oh man, that is incredible. So let's just talk about that teaching license. Well, it absolutely pisses on me. So the teaching license that I have, cards on the table. It's a temporary teaching license that can be renewed every 3 years. And it is prefecturally specific. So if I'm going to teach, I have to teach in Ibaraki Prefecture. And people would then say, well, that's not the same as a teaching license. And you're right, it's not exactly the same, but that's not the point. It's that once you have this teaching license, your experience of teaching is turned totally upside down. This is so beautiful. I'm getting so wet. Because you can teach alone. That's so significant. And that experience in itself is totally different. But then if you are one of these people who really thinks in the long term about, maybe teaching is really for me, I would like to do that more significantly in Japan. Well, then if you have this teaching license, because you have it, the likelihood that you could be sponsored for another one is very, very high. So if you were looking around, for example, and you saw another prefecture had posted a position that you were interested in, because you've shown that another school is willing to hire you and willing to sponsor this for you, very likely that they will as well. So your chances now, it's starting to rain so hard, the chances of you being able to continue this, to get other teaching licenses, is really, really significant. Now, what are the sort of situations that you'll see a teaching license be given out? Oh, I hope it's not doing the horrible wind thing. I need a dead cat. I'm gonna get one soon. They're pretty cheap. So what are the circumstances? The circumstances are that you would either get a private school, which I work at a private school now, and they will sponsor that for you, or some of the prefectural school boards are so desperate for teachers now that they will sponsor you for a public school license. Now the difference there is that likely if you're going to get that public school one, you're probably going to have like N2 Japanese, which I do not have, but the private school route is more forgiving in terms of the language, so you would not so much have to have that. I could not say it enough. It's so beautiful and peaceful here. The photography is going to be incredible. I hope you can still see me. Yeah, we're gonna definitely do a little, like at this point, a little bit of filming around. We're gonna create a kind of mood and an atmosphere just from maybe 30 seconds of it. It'll be good. Okay, so here's another one. This tree is massive. This grove, this whole grove is just filled with these massive trees. I love this. And the rain's doing its work. We got these wet, filthy rocks. Look at you, nasty rocks. I always really liked these as a little piece of Japanese culture. There's these little placards that you find when you come to these shrines, and people will write their prayers, their hopes, their dreams on them. And it's always like, I guess it's interesting to me because it's like prayers and hopes made physical, which I think is cool. And I believe it's mandatory for me to give the explanation that often at these places as well, you can get fortunes. And if you do, then you'll come across things like this here. So these are specifically for those people who have gotten bad fortunes. But never fear, if you get a bad fortune, then all you've got to do is tie it to something like this, and it's canceled. Now, if only bad fortune were just that easy to get rid of, that would be fantastic. Well, what a fine shrine to find on a rainy day. I was not disappointed at all. Like, I've gone by there a couple times, always intended to drop in, and when you go there, they kind of like majesty, and I don't know, there is a peacefulness. I feel so peaceful, and on a rainy day especially, it's wonderful. It's really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, this kind of walkabout. It shows when the best laid plans of mice and men do oft go awry, that you can still have a good time. Or a quote that I saw more recently, man plans and God laughs. It was still good. And much as I would love that they would reopen the gym, like I say, I completely understand that they got to be careful, and so they're probably holding off a little bit more, even though the emergency is lifted. But thanks so much for watching. It's fun to do these a little more casual kind of walkabouts with whatever is happening in the day. It sounds like because the emergency is lifted now, that I'll probably have a busier schedule at work in terms of like I can't just finish my classes and then be on call at the house. I'm going to be like actually back at the school probably starting in June. So it'll be more challenging to have content as frequently, but with enough planning, it should happen. So thank you very much for watching. Please do drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new around the channel here, hit that bell notification to be let known as soon as a video goes live on the channel. Please do consider supporting me on Patreon. I really, really appreciate it, and there's a lot of cool stuff there to check out. Thank you to those who already are doing that. It means a lot to me. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. The clock's run out for now. Peace.